Hello and welcome back to R Square's Monday Morning Mayhem. My name is R Square, and today we are doing the brand new start to a brand new series called Analytically Speaking. So this series is pretty much me going over the analytics of the game. I'm going to pick my 3 favorite games. Depending on how much time I have, I'll do 1 to 3 on the day. So I'll have 3 teams today, hopefully. And I will gather all of the analytical information that I think I need for this game. And I'm going to give you my professional opinion after this, depending on who I think is going to win, if the spread on this game is correct, and so forth, and so on. And first off, I would like to give a big thank you to the Carolina Panthers organization right there. My dad just went to US Bank Stadium, even while they were on their bye. He didn't watch any games there, but he was able to walk up and go ahead and get something from the team store, which officially completed my collection of NFC South merchandise. I have a Tampa Bay football. It's not in the room right now, but I do have a Tampa Bay football. I have the Carolina football. Back here, I have the Atlanta Falcons backpack. And right here, I have the New Orleans Saints scarf. So just like that, thanks to the Carolina Panthers, I have, in fact, finished the collection of the NFC South. So thank you to you guys. And thank you, of course, to my wonderful dad who managed to get this while he was on the road. Thank you so much for that. But anyway, yeah, so let's go ahead and get started with our first game. It is going to be coming up right now. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome back. All right, here we go. So we have the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to be going through all their analytics, and of course, I will be rating the spread at the end and whether I think it's accurate or inaccurate based on the analytics of this. So let's go ahead and get started off with the spread, which is under 2 in Jacksonville's favor. I personally agree with this. I know in my video that's coming out on Wednesday, I am taking the Jaguars over the Steelers. But that's just a little sneak peek for that. You have to watch the full video to see how that goes. It'll be out on Wednesday afternoon, most likely. Alright, so let's go ahead and start off with total yards per game for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They rank 14th in the league with 336.3 yards per game. That's not bad. 14th, it's above average. Of course, average is considered anywhere from the 15th ranked to 20th ranked, in my opinion. That's above average for me, and I think they have been pretty efficient passing the ball, of course, and rushing the ball. Travis Etienne has not done badly at all in terms of running the football. I think they've been a very consistent team. But let's go ahead and see what Pittsburgh's allowing in yards per game. They are 30th in allowing yards per game, allowing 383.5 just regular yards altogether per game, which is ridiculous amount for any team to be giving up. And that is they allow almost 50 more yards per game than Jacksonville has average in a game. I think Jacksonville can definitely take big advantage of this Pittsburgh defense. It's not their toughest opponent yet. Or is it? When we get down to the turnovers, I'll show you why. All right, here we go. Passing yards per game for the Jacksonville Jaguars is yet again 14th. Okay, which is very interesting because total yards per game is 14th, obviously. And passing yards per game also being 14th. Normally it's not like that, but that is a very interesting thing to keep in mind. So passing yards per game, they have 222.9 passing yards per game, rating 14th in the league. However, Pittsburgh's defense has yet again failed to usurp them in that manner. They cannot have a lower number than the Jacksonville Jaguars in this stance. They're 25th in the league and allow 241.2 yards per game through the air, which is not good at all. The Pittsburgh Steelers really have to start fixing stuff up on defense. I mean, it's Mike Tomlin. He's a defensive head coach. You gotta get things going if you are the Pittsburgh defense. But yeah, so Jacksonville can definitely take advantage of them through the air as well as just overall. Now let's go ahead and see the running game. Again, shockingly, the Jaguars rank 14th in rushing yards, coming in at 113.11. But anyway, they do have that many yards per game for them. I think it's 113.1. I might have said that wrong or written it down wrong. But 113.1 one for the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 14th in the league overall. So that's very surprising to see 14 all across the board. They're a very consistent offense. I think that's good to see in a team. As for Pittsburgh, they have the rushing defense is 28th overall, and yet again they disappoint. They allow 142.3 rushing yards per game, which is 30 more than Jacksonville averages on a normal game. Jacksonville can take huge advantage of this. They can get almost an extra 100 yards on this Pittsburgh defense if these analytics are correct based on per game. They can get a solid 100 out of this. They can put up some big numbers against Pittsburgh. It's not looking good for Pittsburgh right now. But let's go ahead and go to points per game compared to points allowed. The Jacksonville ranks in 9th in points per game at 24.7, which is a pretty solid number. I would be happy if I'm scoring 24.7 points per game if I am, in fact, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, so I'm more happy than, well, we're scoring 70 points than 24, but I will go with 24.7 is a solid number for Jacksonville. Pittsburgh ranks 18th in points allowed per game. So in this case, the lower your number is, for those that don't know, in this sense, points allowed, the lower your number is, the better. So if you do have 21, if you say you allow 7 points per game, you're probably number 1 overall on that list. So these are 18th, which means they're not great. They allow 21.2 points per game, which is about as much as Jacksonville averaged. I think it's going to be an interesting at that point in the points per game section, but I think based on yardage in general, Jacksonville takes the huge advantage in the overall offensive start. But Trevor Lawrence has been 4th in the league when it comes to throwing interceptions. He's only thrown 3 interceptions in the year so far, while Pittsburgh is 11th in intercepting the ball, coming in with 6 interceptions and 12 total turnovers. They're number 4th in forced fumbles with 6 overall. And of course Jacksonville is almost dead last when it comes to fumbling the football. They're number 30th. They fumble the football once every game on average with 7 fumbles. That's tough, because my big thing for Pittsburgh here is they have to go for the ball. Excuse me. But anyway, you do have to just go for the ball if you're Pittsburgh. Get the hands in there. Punch it out. You just play classic football. Don't go for the pick if you can't. This is a team that does not throw many interceptions. Trevor Lawrence has been incredibly accurate all season long. You got to go for the ball if you're the Pittsburgh defense. So my thoughts on the Pittsburgh defense is, it needs some work. You're really going to have to step up your game if you're the Pittsburgh defense. That's all I got to say. You got to get that secondary a little more involved. Stop leaving it up to TJ Watt, who has 8 sacks on the year. Some more analytics in there. 8 sacks on the year. Not great for Pittsburgh's rest of the thing. You got to stop leaving it up to just one player. They have to get everyone involved to help make it a successful team. As for Jacksonville, just keep doing what you're doing, guys. Play like you did against New Orleans. It was an incredible game. You guys played very well. Just keep up the good work, and you'll be able to beat Pittsburgh on that side of the football. Now let's go ahead and see Pittsburgh's offensive side of the football against Jacksonville's defensive side of the football. By the way, it looks like I might only be able to do 2 teams because I am taking forever because I love this stuff. So I'll be doing 2 games. I love this stuff. So just as that, I will be doing one more game, and then I'll do a quick outro, and then I will do more next week. If you want to put down in the comments what games you would like to see, you can put anywhere from 1 to 3. We'll see how many I get in that day, depending on how much I am loving this analytics stuff. I love this kind of stuff. This is just right up my alley. I love the analytics of the game of football in general. It's so much fun to just look it up and just see these stats. I just love looking at them. It's so fun. I'm not a big math person, but it's still fun. I really love it. But anyway, let's go ahead and get back in. So don't forget to comment down below what teams you want to see, what games you want to see for next week that you want me to go through the analytical standpoint and see what I think is the spread is correct or incorrect, and so forth and so forth. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with Pittsburgh's offense. So their total yards per game, they rank 31st in the league. Yeah, that's not great, and I'm sure most of you Pittsburgh fans know why. I could hear you out there, at Ohio State. I don't know why there's a crazy amount of fans from Pittsburgh in Ohio, but it's ridiculous to me. But you guys know, who you are, because you guys were shouting it all day, and I'll say it again at the end based on what I'm seeing here on this paper. So 31st overall, 273.5 yards per game. That is a solid 80 yards per game under what Jacksonville was. That is absolute garbage from the Pittsburgh offense. And I mean, I'm sure Pittsburgh fans are really feeling why I'm saying that it's garbage, because it is. Just wait until we get to the rest of it. It is not good at all. Passing yards per game for Pittsburgh is 25th overall, 192.2. Kenny Pickett's not stepping up to the challenge. That's not good at all. Yards allowed per game for the Jaguars now. Did I just say Jaguars? I'm really turning British. Jaguars. Jaguars 25th overall. They're 354.4 in yards allowed. So they're pretty even in that sense. They allow a lot of yards. So Pittsburgh might be able to get a little bit more yardage than their average football game against Jacksonville, who's typically allowed a lot of passing yards. When it is complete, they are not great at tackling based on the analytical standpoint. They're not great at tackling at all in that sense. But I think they can definitely step up to the plate here. I definitely think that the Jacksonville still wins the comparison here, but I think Pittsburgh could get some extra yardage on that. Passing yards allowed for Jacksonville is 31 overall, which is really not good. They allowed 273.9, which is almost 100 more than Kenny Pickett averages per game. Kenny Pickett could have a field day, but the problem is those turnovers, because wait until we get to Jacksonville's defensive turnovers. All right, so first off, let's go ahead and get to rushing yards and points per game for the Steelers. Rushing yards per game for Pittsburgh is 28th overall. What is this Steelers team? I don't know why I chose this as one of the games, because this is hot garbage that we're seeing from Pittsburgh so far. Rushing yards, 28th overall, 81.3. Najee Harris hasn't had his best season, but this is really not his best season. Next up, we have points per game. They're 28th overall with an 81.3. Wait, sorry, I just said that. My bad. That was rushing yards. Points per game is 26 overall at 17.2, which is really bad for football. I mean, averaging below 20 points isn't a great sign overall. And considering Jacksonville was only averaged 24.7 points per game, and they were 9. The significant drop-off of teams that are ahead of them, 24 from a touchdown above. From them to be at 9, and then coming in at 26 at 17.2, that's a significant drop-off between the two teams, even though Pittsburgh only averages about a touchdown less than Jacksonville. As for points allowed for Jacksonville, they are 4th in the league. They're 16th in the league. They're dead in the center of points allowed per game at 16th with 20.9. So maybe Pittsburgh may be able to get a couple more field goals in, pull it down to a close game, potentially. Rushing yards allowed per game. They are 4th in the league. That linebacker unit for the Jaguars is stacked. They know how to play the game of football, and they're going to do it well at 4th overall in the league with 80.6 rushing yards allowed. That they are going to have a field day on Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, who only average 81.3. That's about even. If their past opponents have averaged more than that, they're going to beat down on Pittsburgh's running game. It is not going to be existent for them. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be messy for Pittsburgh going into this one. Next up, we have the interceptions and fumbles for Jacksonville. Forced and taken. Here's where we gotta listen up. From the standpoint. Jacksonville. They are 2nd in the league in interceptions and 2nd in the league with forced fumbles. This defense has found their purpose, and it's to punch that ball out, and it's to snatch the ball out of the sky. Honestly, Doug Peterson doesn't care. They're winning games by solid. They're getting picks. They're getting fumbles. They are doing really well. They have 9 interceptions on the year and 7 forced fumbles on the year. That is phenomenal. But they are up against one of their least fumbled and least picked teams ever. The only problem with Pittsburgh is that we haven't actually seen enough of their drives to make it so that any team can intercept them. With 11 interceptions, the rank 11 in interceptions, and I've only thrown 4 interceptions. Kenny Pickett has. I know, Steelers fans, it seems like a lot more than that, but trust me, it's not. And they're 7th in fumbles lost with 2. Only 2, which is incredible numbers. Other than the fact that Pittsburgh doesn't tend to get more than 1 first down a game. I'm kidding. They get at least 3, so they can make it down to the end zone. And it's really been Pittsburgh's defense carrying them with those picks and fumbles forced, of course. But even then, their defense can't hold up to the challenge. So ultimately, here's the final thoughts on Jacksonville's defense. It doesn't matter how many yards per game or points allowed per game. You're winning games with what you're doing. Interceptions and forcing fumbles. Overall, it's very good for them. I think they just got to keep doing what they're doing all around the board. Jacksonville's doing a really nice job. Pittsburgh, I got 2 words for their offense. Fire and Canada. That's what they were saying all over Ohio on the Pat McAfee show. Fire Canada. Fire Canada. Whew, man, they really should. Their offense looks like garbage. They really can't get anything done offensively. They're not getting down the field. They're not getting in the red zone. And don't even get me started about the red zone percentage for this team. They are not cashing in big time with Canada as their OC. So overall, my opinion on the stat line, incorrect. Under 2 for Jacksonville, incorrect. It's under 7. Jacksonville's going to obliterate them. The Jaguars are a top 15 team, and the Steelers are all the way down there in the bottom 5 probably, based on how they've been playing. I'm taking Jacksonville over Pittsburgh, and good night. I'm taking Jacksonville over the Steelers by under 7. That's my stat line. And I probably have time for one other quick game. So we're going to go ahead and do the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. I'll see you there. Hi, I'm back. I'm not going to be doing the Falcons-Titans game right now, so you're going to have to wait until tomorrow. Well, I mean, I am doing it right now, but I want you guys to wait until tomorrow. It's going to be a whole separate video. I took a really long time with this one because I love analytics. It's so much fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you guys, too, to hear all these statistics. I really hope you guys had a great time for this one. Yeah, I'll just leave this video here, and then tomorrow you can check back in, and you can see the Falcons and Titans, and then the day after that, I will have, my Week 8 picks. Don't worry if I'm wearing the same clothes, it's because I recorded it today, not tomorrow. I just want to release them on separate days, so that's what the plan is for this one. So everyone stay safe, and don't forget to subscribe, turn that notifications on, and I will see you in the next video.